So the moment that you've all been waiting for is finally here. The new RayBan Display glasses, the upgrade from the RayBan Meta Smart Glasses 2 is here, and it has an inbuilt display. Just one of them, by the way. So I just watched the launch video. I think this was actually released yesterday, but I wanted to give you my initial thoughts on it. This is unscripted, of course, after having owned the RayBan Meta Smart Glasses, the original ones. And after having owned these for 2 years, they're almost at the end of their life. I'm going to make another video about that. It's kind of disappointing considering these things cost about $300. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the new iteration, which are like these on steroids. But they're also, it comes with a comes with a bit of a downside. They are massive and they look goofy as hell. Of course, I've not had them in my hands yet. They're released on September 30th, which is in a few days from now. So once that time comes along, I might just bite the bullet and buy a pair so I can really talk to you in detail about what these things have. But so far on the launch, they talked about the display and they talked about some of the features that come with this. They basically got the same features as the RayBan Meta Smart Glasses, but with an extra display that gives you more interactability with the glasses. So you can do stuff like have live translation in visuals. You can also make phone calls, I think, and do various other things through the screen. And the new neural interface, which is a band that goes on your wrist. And Mark comes out on stage and introduces these things. They actually don't look crazy too bad on his face. I think the pictures, the product pictures, make them look a lot chunkier than they are. I have no idea what they're going to be like in person, like I said, but I just can't help but thinking that these things are definitely not going to be adopted by the masses at this point. I think they're too clunky. They do have a camera in them and then an indication light like the regular ones. And then they have the cool speakers, which I think are very good with the RayBan Meta Smart Glasses, the original versions. It uses, of course, their AI that they've adopted, which I don't find very useful anyway with my RayBan Meta Smart Glasses. But you can do stuff like control your music, and using this neural interface, you can kind of imagine that you're holding a dial and you can turn up the music. How seamless that's going to be, I don't know. The band is apparently waterproof and water resistant, so you can kind of wash your hands and stuff, but you're not going to go swimming with it. I don't know why you would. But that kind of poses a question is, I think that a lot of people, they use their dominant wrist for their watch. So if you're used to having a watch on one wrist, are you going to get used to using your other hand for the neural thing? Or do you somehow fit your watch with the band to make the controls? Or will Meta eventually create a smartwatch that includes a band? Which I think could lead into the fact that Apple would be in a really good position to release a pair of glasses because they could release the neural thing in their smartwatch, integrated with their smartwatch for new Apple glasses, which apparently are coming, but God knows when. And actually, Apple already has some tap gestures, some hand gestures that you can use to operate the smartwatch as well. But my initial impressions of this is just that, okay, it's good technology. It's interesting that you have a screen. I wonder what one screen is going to be like versus two. Google has released their prototype and what they're working on, which has one screen as well. It seems like having two screens is just too much technology to pack into a wearable device. Meta is saying that they're going to get, it says you'll get 6 hours of mixed use with these glasses. So we don't really know what that is. And then 24 hours with the case as well. And that's kind of disheartening because I think if it's running all of that technology, that 6 hours is probably going to be realistically 4 hours. I'd imagine some of those hours are going to be standby as mixed use. So I'm not sure that this battery is going to last very long, and with no way that I can see to replace the battery or charge it on your face, that could be a real issue. These glasses, like I've told you I'm going to make a video about, the battery is almost dead. They don't really last very long. Especially if I'm recording video, they'll last less than half an hour. So it's quite disappointing. And I can imagine you're going to be spending $800, which is the list price for this. And I believe it comes with the band and the glasses, for a device that is only going to last a little while, maybe 1 or 2 years. So that's a little bit disheartening unless they come up with some sort of way of replacing batteries or servicing the device itself, which I can't imagine. This is very much a first gen product in my opinion. Yes, it's an upgrade from the RayBan Meta Smart Glasses, but I think with this type of technology, this is very much first gen category, which leads me into another point where the use case, like talking about the use cases for these glasses. So apparently you can text, you can make phone calls, you can listen to your music, which is kind of what you can do using voice with the RayBan Meta Smart Glasses currently. However, you now have the ability to control what's on that screen. So like I mentioned, you can turn up the music, you can, I believe, tap on certain things as well. The only thing I think from seeing this demo is that it looks really weird whilst Mark fusses around with the menu settings. It's like he's got like a weird nervous twitch. And I can imagine being in public trying to do this, like you're talking to someone having a conversation, you're doing this. I think people, it's just gonna be kind of like one of those weird sci-fi movies where you're like Black Mirror, where you're just kind of weirded out with this half human, half robot android thing. It's kind of interesting this Mark Zuckerberg displaying this when everyone thought he was a cyborg anyway. So what else is it saying on this website? Yeah, so it's all the same stuff basically, with image recognition, asking your AI what you're looking at. There are turn-by-turn directions apparently with this. Whether it's going to use Google or not, I'm not really sure. It displays your text messages, which I think could be quite interesting. Like I said, I don't know what it's going to be like to adjust to having a screen in one eye versus another. I've never used a pair of devices that have an inbuilt screen in them. But the point that I was going to make earlier about the fact that this is a first-gen product, it doesn't seem as if there is an app store for this thing. So I can see the screen being useful for numerous different things, like perhaps watching a little YouTube tutorial on how to do something whilst you're doing some other work, or perhaps having a scrolling teleprompter. Where are we going to get that from? There's no app store to download that. I think we're just then going to be reliant on Meta to see the value in developing that. And like I'm saying, I'm not seeing anything about an app store here. So then you've got a pair of smart glasses that you're tied completely to Meta's ecosystem, which is very much limited right now. And I've even noticed it with the smart glasses as well. They don't even integrate YouTube music. So anyway, that's my initial thoughts on these glasses. They're clunky, they're big. I don't think they're very fashionable, but they could take on a role of their own in society. Who knows? At $800, I do not think that they're going to be a piece of technology that is going to be mass adopted. From what I heard with rumors, they're not expecting it to be a massively adopted either. I think this is just a way of getting prototype devices into users' hands. What do you guys think? I'd love to know down in the comments below. Do you think they're fashionable? Would you wear a pair? Are you planning on getting a pair? Do you think it's a good value? What are the pros and what are the flaws that you can see? Is there something I've missed? I'd love to know down in the comments below. Subscribe for more videos about wearables, tech, 360 cameras and stuff like that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.